All right, welcome everybody. Let me switch it over to me. Hello. So hope everybody's had a great Tuesday so far. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Julie Brown. I am a Stampin' Up independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And I'm glad you're here tonight. Now I do have my fan going, so if you guys can let me know whether that's all you're hearing and you're not really hearing me. It's a little bit warm in this room today, so but I can turn it off if it is overbearing or bothering you, so just let me know. But as usual, please make sure that you comment, let me know that you're here, and of course if you have any questions, then just ask any questions that you might have. So I'm going to do a little housekeeping right at the beginning to give people time to get on. We're going to be working with the Artistry Blooms Suite. And this is a really fun suite. There's a couple of cards that I wanted to do that I didn't do, and I may go ahead and do a video on them and just post it later. Not do it as a live, because I just kind of want to show you all that is available in this suite. I got a little carried away with the die cutting on this one. So the next thing is that we've got just a few more days of July, and this is the hostess code for July. Also, please don't forget that July is, if you spend $50, you will get an email with a $5 off coupon that you can spend next month in August with Stampin' Up. So anyway, and that doesn't come from a particular demonstrator, that's from Stampin' Up. So you will be able to place your order for that through anybody next month. Hopefully, though, you're using me as your demonstrator. And so if that's the case, then you would go to juliebrown.stampinup.net. Also, I want to talk to everybody about August. They are changing to a new online store. So please make sure when you're ordering, especially if you are specifically wanting to order from a certain demonstrator, or if you have a hostess code, that you actually pick your demonstrator. If you have a hostess code, you shouldn't have to. You should be able just to go in, put the hostess code in, and then it's going to say, oh, you're shopping with so-and-so. If you're not already underneath your demonstrator, would you like to switch to this demonstrator who belongs to that hostess code? So that's kind of an easy way to do it. Or probably the easiest is the first time that you go online, pick your demonstrator. But what's going on is that Stampin' Up is kind of doing if people come online and they don't have a demonstrator, hey Shanine, but if they come online and they don't have a demonstrator, they're trying to hook them up with demonstrators that are close to them. So if you do, so just make sure in August, when you start to put your orders in August, that you are under the correct demonstrator in August. Okay, and then the last thing for housekeeping that I want to go over is my Stampin' Up bingo. I only have 3 spots left. So if that's something that you want to come to, you need to let me know as soon as possible, because I am actually going to cut this off on July 30th. So you only have until July 30th to get signed up for this. It is going to be loads of fun. You are going to win a lot of fun prizes if you get a bingo. But even if you don't get a bingo, your $35 includes 2 bingo cards, a $5 off coupon for spending. So that's another $5. So if you get a $5 one in July that you've spent the money, and then you come to my bingo, you'll get another $5. So that will already be $10 off. You'll get a table treat, and you will get a gift from me. And then we will play six games of bingo. We're going to have some make and takes. So it should be tons and tons of fun. And the final blackout winner is going to get the hostess rewards, which start at $25 and can go higher. The more people that come, the more people that order. That will determine how much they get off of that hostess reward. So it should be fun. So again, if you want to come, I need to know by July 30th. You can either text me, call me, and my information is right there if you want to write that down really quick. All right, so let's look at this suite. Hey, Juanita. Okay, this is such a fun suite. It's very psychedelic. So let's go over what's in this suite. So this suite, and it does come with some little embellishments, but I thought I ordered them, and I have looked everywhere for them, and I have put them away so that they're nice and safe. But it starts on page 130, and so it comes with the die sets, the paper, the rainbow glitter paper, and then I don't know if you can see, but right here is the Artistry Blooms sequence, and that's what I'm missing tonight to show you. And I apologize because I thought I had everything. So let's look at all of this. So here's the die set. So if you compare that to the stamp set, it does not cut out this image here, but it will cut out, so it will cut out this flower image, and this flower image, and this little small flower image here. And then it has what I call standalone dies because you don't need to stamp anything with it. Then it has some leaves, and then this whole piece is a standalone die, and we're going to be working with that. The stamp set has a lot of really fun sayings. So it has happy birthday, congratulations, so grateful to have a friend, hello, thank you, friend. So lots of fun sentiments, plus a beautiful flower stamp, which we will be using that tonight as well. Okay, let me get that out of the way. Okay, so let's look at the paper. So this is that rainbow glitter paper, and I don't have my lights on, so it's not gonna glimmer. Let me see if I can get the lights on so that it glimmers. Can you guys see it glimmers? This is like glimmer paper. It's taking me back to the 70s with these colors, but it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So you get, I think it's 2 sheets of the glimmer paper in the packet, and then you get all of this paper, which is 12 by 12. And so I'm showing you, like, this is one side, this is the opposite side, as you can see, of this. So here's all the patterns. I'm just going to kind of go through them really quick. And then you have this pattern, and this is on the back of that pattern, this pattern, and this is on the back of that pattern, this pattern, whoops, and this is on the back of that pattern, and then you have this pattern. These are smaller because I've already used some of these for the class today, and then this pattern, that's on the back of that one, and then here's this side, and then the opposite side is this one. So, hey, Mel. So really fun, colorful paper in this suite. So, yay. All right. So, I need to grab my die cutting machine. Hold on. I always think I have everything sitting around, and then I turn around and realize I don't have one of the most important things for tonight. All right, so, oh, let me get, I didn't realize this was so not straight. Okay, so let's get started with our first card. And I'm trying to decide whether I want to do the, yeah, let's just get the embossing out of the way. So I'm going to show you the card. This is the card we're going to be making, front and inside. Okay, hey Vanessa. Welcome, welcome everybody. All right, so what do we need for that card? I am using a Night of Navy card base, of course 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then of course you need a Whisper White piece that is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I'm using this is part of that designer series paper. Remember, there's both 2 sides, both beautiful. And this piece is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have a Granny Apple Green piece, which is 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. And then I have a little strip of Night of Navy, which is a 3/4 by 2 3/4. All right. So we're going to start with the stamping. And we're going to bring in Versamark because we are going to be embossing tonight. So it's going to get loud. Sorry, ladies. I know not everybody likes the loudness. But are you guys okay with my fans going? Can someone tell me, is it okay? Is it bothering you guys or making it harder for you to hear? Just let me know. Now I don't know what I did with the stamp set. Oh, oh my goodness. All right. Okay, so we're going to be using this stamp and this stamp. And of course we're doing Versamark, so it's really hard for you guys to see what I've actually stamped. And unfortunately, you know what? I'm wondering, oh no, never mind. I'll just do it this way. I was wondering if our big block, I could actually get both stamps on it. But I stamp over this one a little bit. So we're gonna get this full of Versamark. And then I'm just going to try to center that. And I always lay it down. Oh, good. You guys can hear me okay. Perfect. And then I put a little pressure on it because I want to make sure that that Versamark ink gets on there really good. And I'm a little worried that my fan's going to dry out my Versamark ink. So I'm going to try to move really fast here. Then I'm going to take this other stamp and I'm going to bring it in here and just kind of go up and over where that was. Okay, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but oh yeah, you can kind of see the image that I stamped on there. So I'm going to get that out from in front of my fan while that's the biggest thing. So if you do have a fan, just be aware that you don't want it to dry out that Versamark. You want that Versamark to stay nice and sticky. Okay, so I'm going to get those two out of the way. Then I'm going to bring in my little handy dandy tray and my white embossing powder. And I probably should have run my embossing buddy over this, but I didn't. So let's cross our fingers. Oh, the fan is blowing my powder. So let me do this so that the fan can't hit it. There we go. Okay, and then you just pour on the powder so that it looks like this. And I got lucky. None of the little white spots went ever over. And I kind of stamped that a little crooked, but that's okay. All right, let me move this out of the way so that my fan doesn't blow it all over the place. Okay, so I'm going to bring in our heat tool, the heat tool gun. And remember, guys, it's best to start it. So I'm going to start it and move it away. So it's best to start it and let it heat up just a little bit so that it will work a lot smoother. And I actually see a little bit that I missed on my flower. So I'm going to, I'm going to go over here and I just put a pinch on because I saw an edge of the flower that didn't have any powder on it. All right, so here we go. Hopefully you can see the magic work. So then you just come in, and the way that you know that it's working is that it will start to turn shiny. So I don't know if you guys can you see it turning shiny? Yeah, there you go. See how it's getting kind of darker as it moves up? Isn't this fun? I love embossing. It just puts such a pretty texture on things. And it's just it's really easy to do these stamps or cards. Do these cards when you're using embossing powder. And I go in spurts where I use it a lot, and then I kind of don't use it for a while. Don't know why I do that, but I do. All right, so there you go. So there's what it looks like finished. Let me see if I can get it up here so you can see kind of the shimmer. It's got like a shimmer to it. All right, so now what we're going to do is pretty much put our card together. So we're going to bring in, oh, sorry, I have got powder. When I poured that powder, my fan blew that powder. Oh my goodness, what a mess. Okay, so we're going to bring in the Designer Series paper. And of course our Stampin' Seal adhesive. And we're just going to get some adhesive on the back of this. Stick this, I think I want it this way. Stick this on my card front. Hopefully get it even. I'm a little worried since I didn't stamp even. I might be a little off tonight. Okay, then I'm going to come in with this piece here. And we have this really cool Night of Navy ribbon. And this actually is part of the Playing with Patterns suite. So if you want this really thin Night of Navy ribbon, it's the ribbon that comes with that suite. All right, and it's just really thin. So I'm just going to cut me a piece here that's big enough to wrap around that. And then of course I'll be tying a ribbon. And you guys know me, I always like to use glue dots on the back to hold my ribbon in place. And let me just kind of place it because I want it to go even with where the ribbon on the flower is, if that makes sense. So it's like we're wrapping another ribbon around our flower besides the white ribbon that the stamp already put on there. So, I mean, you really wouldn't have to put a ribbon around this if you didn't want to. I just thought it added a little extra prettiness to it. All right, so we're going to just flip that and catch that on the glue dot back there. Get it straight. And then I'm going to bring in one of my little ribbon builder things that I know everybody loves, right? And all of you, if you've ordered from me, you should have one. If you don't have one and you have ordered from me, let me know because I will get you one. I like to give all my customers these fun little tools that we use. And oh, I'm sorry, I had that outside of this. So basically the way you use this, so if you have one and you're not sure how to use it, basically for the small ribbon, which is what I'm doing, I'm going to be working around these two legs. And so I just come in and wrap that around, go through the center, come up through the bottom, and then just grab this and tie it. Yay! There we go. All right. So there's our little ribbon, or our little bow, and it makes just perfect little bows. Now realizing sometimes it's a little harder with this to make, sometimes we have the material that some of the bows are made out of can be kind of challenging if they're really thick. And so you've got to make sure that you really pull the bow tight when you have the thicker ribbon. Okay, so I'm just going to place this little, I folded that glue dot in half because I'm using such thin ribbon. And then I'm going to stick that right there, and I will probably trim those in a second. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this on the card front, and then I'm going to finish with the embellishing. And I'm actually going to be popping this up with our Stampin' Dimensionals. And if I had a bigger piece, so if I was using a 4 by 5 1/4, I would probably put one in the middle. I don't think I need to do this, but again, you guys do what you want. I know people that would have 8 on this, and I'm just kind of a minimalist when it comes to Stampin' Dimensionals. All right, so now I'm going to place this down here on this corner. I'm staying on the designer series paper, but I'm just kind of moving it down in this corner. Then I'm going to come in with our rhinestone jewels. And unfortunately, we don't have Coastal Cabana Stampin' Blends. So I'm actually going to use the light Bermuda Bay Stampin' Blend. And I am going to color one of each size. So a large, a medium, and a small with the Stampin' Blend. And even though these dry really quickly, usually when I'm making cards, I will actually, if I know that I'm going to use the rhinestones, I'll actually color them ahead of time and then set them to the side. Even though it dries quickly, I just kind of want to make sure that I'm not smearing it, because I use my pick a tool, and so I'm just going to grab this with that the side, the end that has the putty in it, and then I'm going to pick up this one, and we're going to stick that one right there, and then I'm going to pick up this one and stick that one right there. All right, so we've got to do a little bit more embossing because we're going to stamp the sentiment. So let's get this out of the way, and I may put something in front of my fan. All right, so then that little, where'd he go? So this little tiny piece here, I'm going to use the stamp that says friend right here. And we're going to bring in a block and bring in our Versamark again. And I'm just going to try to get this centered on there. And then I'm going to quickly move it to the side so that the air from the fan does not dry it out while I clean that stamp. All right, and then I'm going to, and this time, because I already have like powder in here, I'm just going to kind of lay that on there to pick up that powder. The only problem with that is that it gets it everywhere. And then I'm just going to flick it to try to get all the extra. And then you guys probably can't see it, but there are some little flakes that by setting it in there like that, I got some flakes. But fortunately, I have long enough nails, I can just come in, and if I had used my embossing buddy, this wouldn't have happened. But I don't think they've got the embossing buddy in the new catalog, which was kind of sad. So you can also come in with like, there we go. Except I think I got rid of some of the R's, so I'm just going to put some of that back on there. And I've seen some demonstrators that use, I must have had that on my hand. That was a bad idea. I've seen some demonstrators that use little spoons and spoon it on, which is a good idea. So there's different ways that you can do this. Okay, so let's heat this up. I'm just letting my heat tool get hot. This one's going to be a little bit hard to hold because it does get quite warm when you do this, but let me bring it closer so you can see it changing. All right, so I think we're good. So that says friend, and then I'm going to come in with one of our label punches that I actually use a lot but haven't used in a while. This is our classic label punch, and so I'm going to come in with this one, and then I'm going to stick this in here, And as usual, I didn't get it long enough so that it's easy. But I think if I just kind of push it all the way, and then that should work. And then we're just going to punch that out. I'll work on getting that piece out later. All right. So then it makes this fun little banner. That's why it's one of my favorites. And then this I'm going to glue directly on. I'm not using any dimensionals, so I'll use the Tombow glue. And I'm sure you guys have noticed I use just about every glue that is in our catalog. There's I've used it all. I just find some things work better for, you know, other things. And I like the Tombow glue, like I've told you before, because if you're positioning things, it gives you a little more wiggle room. So then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to move that bow out of the way. And I'm just going to kind of stick that on the bottom of the stems of the flower. And then this is why I was waiting to trim it. And actually I might not have to trim it because it's actually laying really nicely on the other side of the word, which is nice. But I am trimming it just a bit. There we go. All right, so that, oh, I see how what I'm talking about. I didn't get that quite straight, so I still have a little bit of wiggle room to move that. It does dry fairly fast, so you can't leave it for forever. So let me bring that closer so you can see the rhinestone jewels on that. All right, and then for the inside, we are going to bring in oh, here's this. We're going to bring in our 4x5 1/4 and our Night of Navy ink. And we're going to take this little flower here. And I'm going to stamp this in this bottom corner. Now again, you could just put a strip of the Designer Series paper down here if you don't want to stamp. But I kind of like stamping. So I'm just gonna stamp it 3 times in that corner with that little flower. Oh, I still need that. Oh, don't tell me it's gonna be one of those nights. Okay, so, and then I'm gonna come in with, So Grateful to Have a Friend Like You. And I'm going to put this on our larger block here. And this is, let's see, block H, if you guys are wanting to know. And I'm just going to ink that up. And then, like I always tell you guys, I'm going to line this up so that my paper is straight. That's kind of the first thing that I learned on getting things stamped correctly, is to make sure your paper's straight, because there were times where I had my stamp perfectly straight, but I did not have my paper straight. Okay, and then I'm going to come in and hopefully get that straight. Oh no, I pushed too hard. All right, I'll have to figure out how to fix that. All right, so there's the So Grateful to Have a Friend Like You. This mark should not be there. And so I think what I may do, yeah, is I'm going to come in with this smaller flower. You know me, there's always ways to fix everything that we do. I'm so good at doing that sometimes. I always put more pressure when I'm doing these online classes because I'm not really bent over the way I normally like to be. Okay, so I'm just going to put these flowers right down the center of that. And although it doesn't cover it all the way, it still looks pretty cute. And then I could come in with some Stampin' Blends and color that in, which I may do later. Let me see what colors. Yeah, I don't know if Granny Apple Green, let's try it. So if I came in with a Granny Apple Green and then just colored this in, we're making an all new card on the inside, guys. All because I messed up. But this just goes to show you I mess up too, so don't stress over it. So yeah, that actually is looking kind of cute that way. To come in with the Granny Apple Green. And color in my mistake. All right. And then I went out of my lines a little bit. So if you guys have never used these, you're going to get to see how to use them. This is the color lifter, and what it does is it actually pushes that color when you go outside the lines. It'll actually push it back in. Now the only issue is this isn't black memento ink, it is Night of Navy ink, so I have to be a little more careful with pushing that back in because it might make it all just kind of blend together, which I don't want. So this is called the, if you guys don't have this, you probably should add it to your little stash. I'm going to use the other side here. And it basically, I'm just kind of pushing it towards the edge of the flower. But now this one I'm seeing a little bit of the Night of Navy try to start doing some stuff. So I'm going to kind of leave that alone at this point and just try to push up. So anytime you go out of lines, that's what this is for. It's to push that color back in so that everything's in line. All right. And so you might want to go down here and color these two, but I'm not going to take the time to do that since it wasn't part of my plan to begin with. Hey, Brenda. All right. So there, see, it looks a little bit better, even though I messed it up. Looks kind of like I meant to do that, but not really. Ah. All right. So let's just get this on the inside. And then we will just stick that in here. All right, and there's, oh my gosh, I just smeared the top of this. What a night I'm having. I will fix it. Okay, so there's the front. And there's the inside. And like I said, I just did this because I messed it up. And I'm probably going to come up here. I may actually just put some of the designer series paper to cover that. So there's the first card. All right. So let's move on to the next card before I mess this one up anymore. Oh, let me clean this stamp. Okay, any questions so far on that one? So we used embossing powder and the heat tool gun. Again, those are good things to get if you like to emboss. So just for any of you that are going to be hostesses pretty soon for me, the heat tool gun are good things to use your 50% off on, because you know, as a hostess you get, if you get to a certain amount in sales, you can get a 50% off item. And those are the types of things that I buy when I do the 50% off. I try to buy the stuff that is kind of expensive that I wouldn't normally want to spend that kind of money. So like a Stamparatus would be a good thing to get at a 50% off. So all of that. Okay. So I'm trying to decide which one I want to do next. I think I'll do this one next just because we have to emboss on this one as well. So this will be the next card that we're doing. All right. So we are going to need a Blackberry Bliss card base at 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then you're going to need, this is some of that designer series paper. It is 4 by 5 1/4. This is one side. That's the other side. And then you're going to need a piece of Whisper White that is 4 by 5 1/4. And then a piece of Blackberry Bliss that is 4 1/4 by 5.5. So the other nice thing, I don't know if you're noticing, the other nice thing about these cards is they don't need a lot of pieces with them. So I'm going to go ahead and just to get this in place, I'm going to go ahead and put this where it goes. And then we're going to be bringing in our die cutting machine. It's not the new one. I don't have it yet. But I'm going to be bringing in my Big Shot. So we're just going to put this piece on here. This paper is just so, I mean, it's bright, but it just makes beautiful cards. I'm really kind of falling in love with it. All right, so there's that. So let me move everything so I can bring in my die cutting machine. Okay, so we're going to bring in our Big Shot. I try to put it diagonally so you guys can see what I'm doing. And then I'm basically just going to set this here. And then this has this huge die. And then I'm just going to set this die down. And I am using this on the regular base with the thin die adapter because it is very detailed. And because it's very detailed, I am going to kind of tape it in place. Hold on, it looks like I've got it a little too close to that side. I want to make sure I don't have it right next to any of the edges. There we go. All right, so I'm going to be running this through a few times. Might not have to with the thin die adapter, but I'm just not going to take the chance of all of these little pieces not popping out. All right, so I think that should be good. I can look, I can carefully, so let's see. It looks like all of the pieces, oh no, I have an area right here that I'm not sure of. So let me, I always try to kind of check it to see, and I had an area. So what I do is when I see that there's an area that didn't cut all the way through, I actually turn it the opposite direction and run the die through that way, just in case there was like a low spot on my plates, because as you can see, these plates are very well worn and used. So I always just turn it. Okay, now it all cut really good. So that's just kind of a tip. If you've got plates that have any kind of bow in them at all, then always make sure that you turn your die when you're trying to cut out, just to make sure that you're getting the flat surface that you need. So let me get this out of the way. All right, so I want to clean this. So, and realize if you guys have a take-a-pick tool, you can buy the top of this piece that goes on your take-a-pick tool, because they don't sell this anymore. But I'm just going to use this to, oh, and I should have put my adhesive strips on the back of this. Didn't even think about it. Bad. That would have been so much easier than what I'm going to have to do now. Okay, so then that just cleans the die. And the nice thing is you can also use this. I don't use this brush if I'm using foils because the foil paper tends to get scratched. But you can see how you can use this brush and it brushes out most of the big pieces. There's still a few small ones in there that I'm going to get out with my tweezers. So there's some little tiny ones, and if I had my little foam mat here, this brush came with a foam mat that you could lay this on and then roll it over that, and it was better. So that's all it took, just those next few things. Okay, so now we're going to come back in with Versamark, and this time we're going to use the Wishing You a Happy Birthday, because these stamps, the reason there's a space here on these stamps is they are made to fit right on this die, okay, which is kind of cool. So let me get this with my Versamark. And then I'm just going to come in and basically just try to line it up so that I'm seeing a little bit of space at the bottom. Put a little bit of pressure so that I know, so I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's the Versamark stamped it on there. Okay, so let me move that, or actually, let me clean that stamp. I try to clean Versamark off pretty quick too. See, I've even got some embossing powder on this little dude. All right. All right, and so I'm going to bring in my embossing powder, and I'm going to kind of do it in this corner over here. I apologize because I'm trying to, actually, let me think, probably better in this corner. I'm trying to get away from my fan, and I again did not use my embossing buddy. Okay, so then I'm just going to take my embossing powder and pour it over the top. Now you could have stamped this with the white craft ink. If you don't have embossing powder, the white craft ink will work just as well. I don't know why I'm having so many issues with, again, I didn't use my embossing buddy. Should have used it because I've got little extra stuff all over. Let me see if I can get rid of some of that. And just so you know, don't blow on this because you will blow all of your stuff off. So I'm just trying to, I kind of have some, I must have kind of rocked that Versamark pad a little bit, and that's why I'm seeing some of this. So just trying to clean it up a little bit. I usually don't have this much trouble, but again, I always, like I said, I'm pretty good at using that embossing buddy. All right, I think we're good. Okay, let me just put my lid back on this. I think we might be done with the embossing after this one. Okay, so now I'm going to heat up my heat tool. So while that's warming up, do any of you have any questions yet on any of this? We shall see. Okay, so I'm going to bring this in again, and I am just going to heat that up. And like I said, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it definitely changes colors, and it goes from a dull, powdery look to a nice and shiny look. And again, if it's too close to your hands, it does get a little warm on your hands. All right. And like I said, I should have put our adhesive strips on the back of this, but I didn't. So now I'm going to have to come in with my Tombow glue, which this is going to show you it's totally possible, to use the glue, and I'm just going to kind of hit some of the end points. I'm trying to get everything so that it will lay down on the front. So I'm purposely going for some of these little end points because the middle, it's good to get some glue on the middle, but again, you want these end points to actually lay down flat against the, and my glue has given me some issues. And then of course I'll do a little big part there, and again we're going to try to catch these end points. I need to go a little bit faster because again, I'm glad that my fan's here because it's keeping me cooled down, but it's definitely drying everything out faster than normal. So I'm going to try to quickly just get this glue where I need it. And you guys can see I have no rhyme or reason for what I'm hitting. I'm just hitting some of those edges, and I can see that some of this glue is already dry because of my fan. All right, So now I'm going to come in here and we are going to stick this on this sheet right here. Hopefully I have enough still wet glue that it will hold this in place. It looks like I do. Thank goodness. Except not in that corner. So what I'm going to do is just kind of fold this up a little bit and then just try to, there, I got a little bit of glue there, just enough to hold it down. All right, so then what I'm gonna do is, I kind of wanted this to be a little shinier. I mean, it looks really pretty like this, but I wanted it to be shinier. So I actually am gonna cover this whole thing with Wink of Stella. So if you haven't used Wink of Stella, I know those of you that were in my class this last week, we used it. And so for some of you, you got your first taste of Wink of Stella. It's basically just a alcohol-based glitter. It's kind of like a glitter paint, but it's not real like thick or dark. It's a clear, this one is clear, that Stampin' Up sells. And this one is almost out, so let me grab my other one. There we go. And so I'm just basically kind of painting this whole thing with the Wink of Stella. And it's going to give it a completely different finish, the way that it looks, because it's going to put some sparkle and glimmer on this. And if you don't want to do the whole thing, you could pick parts of it that you wanted to paint, and add Wink of Stella. Or if you like it with the flat finish, it's pretty without it. So if you don't have Wink of Stella, you don't have to do this. So, but this is just kind of a neat finish. And you can see that I'm not like staying exactly on the flower. So there's Wink of Stella that's getting on the paper as well, which is fine because it's just going to give it that extra shimmer and shine. All right, so, and this actually does dry fairly quickly. So let me see can you guys see yeah, there. I'm trying to get the light to shine on it, but see how it makes it shimmer? There, oh, I had it. So it adds like a shimmer effect to the whole front of the card. All right, and so then on the inside of this one, because it was wishing you a happy birthday, I'm going to bring in the this Peaceful Moment stamp set, and I'm going to use this one that says wishing you every happiness this special day will bring. This works for a birthday. This works for this little saying can work for a wedding. It can work for anything. And I'm going to come in with Blackberry Bliss ink. And again, try to line this up so that it's straight. See if I can stamp without making a mistake tonight. Yay! Dun ta da! And then on this bottom corner, I'm going to come in with that big flower stamp that's in this set. And just ink up kind of the top of it. And I'm just going to stick it right here in this corner, like that. I do a lot of stamping off, if you guys haven't noticed, where I'm not putting the whole stamp on there, but it's something for you guys to keep in mind, because sometimes we look at a stamp and we look at how big it is and we think that we can't use it like on the inside of a card. But as you can see, I just used that huge stamp, but I only stamped off just this little bit, and look how cute that looks. So very cute. All right, so then we're just going to take this one and we are going to add it. it's getting, my Stampin' Seal is getting down to just the very end of the tape, and it keeps trying to stop on me. But as you notice, I just kind of use my thumb to move it forward. All right, stamp 2, people. So again, I don't know if you can see the shimmer and shine, but it says wishing you a happy birthday. Isn't that cool, the way that those stamps fit onto that front of that banner for this? And then there's the inside. Ta-da! Do you guys like? Hopefully you do. All right. So for our last card, it's kind of the same thing that we just did. But I'm going to be cutting the die cut out of the rainbow glimmer paper, and we're going to see how that looks. So for this last card, we're going to need Coastal Cabana, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. A little strip of the glimmer paper that is 1/2 by 4. A piece of basic black that is 4 by 5 1/4. And another black that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. This is for the inside. And then a whisper white that is 4 by 5 1/4. All right. So let's cut this. And this is already kind of thick, so I don't know if I could put the adhesive on the back of this. I don't know if I want to try that or not. Let me think. So I'm going to kind of feel how thick I think this is, because it might make it just a little bit too thick, because this already has, glimmer paper already has a thicker back. So these are those adhesive sheets that I was talking about. And so I am going to pull one out, and we'll try it and see. If it doesn't work, I'll use a different piece of glimmer paper and I'll figure out. So what you do is you take this, and I usually take a pencil, and I'm going to come in and mark where I need it, and then I'm going to go ahead and just cut that. And then of course I already have another piece if I want to do this again, but we'll see how this works. And this is the first time I've used this, so I'm not even sure which side to pull off. Let me see. Oh, it's in strips. Well, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that. Cool beans. All right, so it looks like I can just pull this off and stick that on. I didn't get that straight, but that'll be fine because I'm not cutting all the way to the edge. Well, this makes it even easier. This is so cool. The old stuff, we had to cut it down. So see, this is my first time using this. And then I'm gonna put this, butt it up against that one. And then take my last strip, it's sticking to me, and butt that up against that one. And it looks like it doesn't even need to be perfect. Yay! Well, this is cool. Like I said, sometimes we learn together, don't we? Okay, so there is some parts that are sticking over, but that's fine. So let me bring in the die cutting machine, and let's hope that this will cut all the way through. This is a case where you might want to bring in even a piece of cardstock and put underneath this and cut it, because when you're adding more thickness, you might need more underneath. So one of the things you can do is what I call shim, and you can use just a piece of cardstock to shim. All right, so let's get this right there. And I think I'm going to put it more to one side so that I don't waste a lot of this. And I'm going to bring in some more washi tape because I may have to pick this up and look at it a couple of times because I've added that extra on the back, that adhesive strip, so that it basically just turns this into a sticker. All right, we're ready to run this through. Oh, that's pretty tight, so it may or may not cut all the way through. But again, I'm going to run it back and forth a few times, just because I want to make sure I get a good cut out of this. And then again, because I already know that, like before, it gave me that where it cut some of it but not all of it. So I'm going to very carefully pick this up and I'm going to turn it around. And so what I'm looking at is to see if I can see that it's actually cut through. And it really does look like it has, but this time I'm going to lay it down this way just to give it a different way that it's cutting. So it's cutting from the top to the bottom, and let's run that through a couple of times just to make sure and I can see now it looks like it really did cut through very well. Okay, so again, I'm going to pick this up carefully, turn it over, and I can see, even though like some of this paper, the backing is on this, it looks like it did cut through the die and the paper. So I'm going to move this. You don't realize how heavy those are until you start trying to move them. All right, so let me just get my die off. So as you can see, we're just removing the die. And then I'm going to just remove this. And so the reason I'm having some trouble removing it is, and it might be easier just to try to peel this off. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to kind of run that brush over it just to kind of make sure that it's releasing all those smaller pieces. And hopefully what's going to happen when I pull this off is all of those smaller pieces are going to hold, stay on the back of this basically. Maybe it'd be easier to do it. No, here, let me just cut around so I can use this paper for something else because I've already got the adhesive on the back of it. All right, so now let me just try to pull the paper. Hopefully I used the right sides. I think I did. So now what I'm going to try to do is just remove this backing, and hopefully it'll pull this die out. So the top of this is not wanting to come off. So yeah, when you add textures to it, it makes it a little more difficult to remove. And so I'm gonna just try to pull this. There we go. So basically what I tried to do was just pull that pull it away from the back of the adhesive strip is what I'm trying to get to happen here. So I've got to find me one that's gonna, there we go. Okay, so now I'm getting this adhesive strip to come off the back of my die. And again, this is a very delicate die, so sometimes using the adhesive strips, I mean, it's always great and good, but it also can be a little challenging to get it all off and all of these pieces out. That was nice. Oh, that's funny. So I stuck my hand to this, the part that had the adhesive on it, and it actually, now all those pieces are stuck to my thumb. All right, so let's pull this. So it did work, and thankfully it looks like it's pulling up a lot of those little pieces. I'm still gonna have to poke a few of them out, it looks like. This was the part I was worried about down here where it's really tiny. The cuts are so tiny with these leaves. Let me bring in my tweezers for this. Ah, now it's sticking to me. Okay, so we're just going to try to find an end, there we go, that's going to actually pull that there. This stuff sticks good. It's sticking to my hand really good. I'm just trying to get, there we go, this end piece. If you can grab the end pieces, it comes apart really easily. And then you just have to kind of pull these little pieces in. The biggest thing is when you have adhesive and so now I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to try to get some of these little pieces to come out. And you actually have to kind of grab them from the back as soon as you poke them through. Otherwise, they stick to the adhesive on the back. So where before I could use my brush to get the back, I can't do that because it'll just push everything and fold it back so that it goes under, and that's not what I want it to do. Because it's got adhesive on it, it kind of sticks to itself. So let's just pull all of this. And of course it is totally stuck to my hand right there. This adhesive definitely works good. It is sticky, sticky. All right. If it wasn't sticking to my fingers so much, this would be so much easier. But this stuff is good stuff. Sticks good. Alrighty. So I'm just going to finish poking out a few more of these. And like I said, as you noticed when I did the first die without the adhesive backing, all of these pieces came out a lot easier. But one, it didn't have this extra backing that the glimmer paper has. So that's kind of, wow, that was really stuck to my hand. I don't know if you guys heard that sucking noise as I pulled my fingers from the back of this. So there's no doubt in my mind that when this goes down, it's staying down, which is really good news. All right. Almost done getting all the little pieces out. Alrighty, I think I got them all. Okay, so now this probably will all be stuck to my paper down here. Oh, and if you were really like needed something to do, all those little pieces that I just poked out have adhesive on the back. You could glue them to something if you wanted to. All right. Okay, so then I'm going to bring in that 4 by 5 1/4 piece, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to go ahead and mount this on here before I stamp on it, and you'll see why in just a minute. And it does hang off the bottom just a bit, which is okay. Now some of these pieces that I didn't get off the back just push through the front, but I'm using those tweezers. But then that's so much easier to glue down because it glues right down. Sorry, I'm trying to get all these little pieces. So I'm actually going to stamp onto the glimmer paper. And so this is definitely a time where if you're, this is a Stamparatus must-have. I'm just going to say it that way. Because it's just, you really need this to be able to make sure you get that you get everything correctly. So I'm taking out the foam mat because that's for the polymer stamps. this is not a polymer stamp. And so I am going to, it's got some paper in there. So I'm just going to stick this in here, and I'm not going to go all the way to the, well, actually I think I can go all the way up and to the edge. And then I'm just going to put my magnet right there. And then I'm going to come in, and this time I'm going to put the congratulations on your special day. This could be a wedding card. This could be a graduation card, anything. So the nice thing is I can actually, you know, line it up. So let me move this so you guys can see. So I can get it all nice and lined up where I want it. Bring in my plate and then stick my stamp. I always put my stamp case underneath when I'm inking up. It just gives me a little extra leverage. So I don't have to over stamp my stamp pad or my stamp, because I can just come in and I can push that down, and it's not quite as dark as I wanted. So now I can just come in, and when you're working with glimmer paper and you're trying to stamp on glimmer paper, I think that it's really important to have the ability to stamp right back over the top of it like you can with the Stamparatus, because then it just makes it a lot darker. I'm going to do it one more time, because what happens with this glimmer paper is it kind of sucks up the ink, and I want to definitely be able to see this. So again, I'm just putting a little bit of pressure. And sometimes, because it's glimmer paper, it's the way that it sparkles that it looks like your image isn't stamped. But this looks pretty good to me. So now I can take that off and bring that up so you can see how well that's stamped. So you can stamp on glimmer paper. I just suggest using the Stamparatus. And like I said earlier, if you don't have a Stamparatus and you want one, you can host a party with me or join my group and become a hostess. And that's something you could buy at a 50% off eventually. You can either host a party at your house, that I haven't done those in a long time, or you can host it and come to my house and just invite your friends to come here and do it that way. I'm looking for my stamp case to put the words back in there. All right, so this one I think came from over there. All right, so now let's get back to our card. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is we have this really cool and again, I haven't used this in a while, but it is in the annual catalog, and it's this polka dot twill ribbon, and this is Whisper White. And so I'm going to put this around the bottom. So I'm going to bring in my glue dots if I haven't buried them. I think these are the other ones, but they'll work just fine. So I'm bringing in my glue dots. Oh my goodness, those little pieces are probably going to be stuck to me all night long. All right. And I want this around the bottom, so I'm going to put one right there. And then one across. Measure. And cut. And then you guys are going to get to see me do a big bow. I know, isn't that rainbow pretty paper? I mean, the rainbow paper pretty? It's so pretty. And this is just really making this card look extra special. That's why I said this could definitely be a wedding, even though it's on black, it could definitely be a wedding card. Okay, so you guys have seen me. Now I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the card front just because my glue dots are on there and I don't want it to get stuck to the paper. But I'm going to show you how to, I always seem to make small bows. And this is the one ribbon. You know how I always tell you guys to go over the ribbon? This is the one ribbon I don't go over it because it tends to tear the ribbon. This twill tool ribbon. I've got those little pieces everywhere. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to show you guys how to tie a big bow with my bow maker, because I don't think I've ever showed you guys how to do the big bows. You can do big bows, you can do double bows. Okay, so that's going to sit on there like that. Okay, so if you have my bow maker, right, this is my bow maker. So now we're going to make a big bow. So instead of working with these two, we're going to work with the whole thing. So you guys are going to get to see how to make the big bow. And so basically when you line this up, you kind of want to make sure you have a little bit of at the bottom. So I just kind of fold it over and then I just cut it like that. And I may not even have given myself enough room. We will find out. So you want to start with this down here. So this time, instead of coming around that one, you're going to come around the whole thing. All right. So I've got to push this up just a little bit. So I'm going to come around this bottom edge as well instead of up this middle. And then I'm going to go through this, where this big piece is. I'm going to go through this is the middle now, not over here. The middle is here. So now I'm going to go through here. So if you guys have never made the big bows, and I really didn't give myself if I wanted a long trail, and then from there it's the same. So you push it through, bring it up around the bottom, and then tie your bow. Okay, and then this is going to make a bigger bow. So see how much bigger that bow is than what I normally make? Yay! So I know I haven't showed that to you guys very often, and then I'm going to bring in a glue dot and stick that right there. And then I'm going to bring in the bow I just did. And you'll probably have to kind of tuck your bow in when you mail this. I probably should have put my bow a little more this way, but I would just leave it like that and just kind of tuck this around this way and this around this way when you put it in the envelope, because I just think it's pretty being big like that. So then you have a nice big bow on that. All right, and then for the inside, we're going to put the 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 basic black. And then we're going to use that same saying, because I told you you could use it for a birthday or a wedding. So let me stick this down. I forgot this was the bigger one. So that's going to go there. And then I'm going to bring in this, and we're going to bring in the wishing you every happiness again. Oh, I think I already have it out. Yes, I do. Okay. And we're going to do this in black memento ink. And like I said, even though I've got black on here, this would still be a pretty wedding card. You know, and this saying can go along with weddings. Wishing you every happiness. This could be a birthday. This could be a graduation. This could be, you know, even for babies, right? The birth of a baby is definitely a special day, and you're always wishing people happiness with their new members of their family. Okay, now I think I've lost and then I'm gonna take, remember I told you we had this little strip. So this fun little glimmer paper is going to be the decoration that goes at the bottom of this. And, you know, I just think that this makes this card kind of extra special when you add this. So I'm going to add that. And then we're going to put this on the inside of the card. So the one thing that I really like about this, this bundle and this suite is that these cards go together really quick. And so I do want to, the bundle is actually called Hand Drawn Blooms Bundle, and that's just the stamp set and the die set. But if you want all of the paper as well, oh my gosh, I did it again. I smeared it. What is going on with me tonight? Where did that come from? All right, again, I'll have to fix that. All right, so let me get, so this is the bundle, and then the suite comes with everything that I showed you, except I didn't have the adhesive backed sequence or gems that come with this one. Now the ribbon that I used tonight is not part of this, so I pulled in other ribbon. Okay, so there's that last card. See the glimmer paper? Isn't that pretty? And then stamping on glimmer paper, you can do it. I just suggest a Stamparatus with the white tulle polka dot ribbon, and then wishing you every happiness with this on the bottom. All right, so let's bring in our 3 cards that we did tonight. So we did this one, and this one. So there's the 3 cards with the, like I said, it's the Artistry Blooms. I hope you guys liked them. I love these cards, and they were pretty simple to put together. And like I said, I'm going to do just some simple stamping with this stamp set as well. And I'll probably do a video on it, but I will just post it on this site, and you guys can come in and watch it later. But aren't these pretty? Oh, I hope you guys like them, because I just think they're so pretty. So if anyone, does anyone have any questions? I'm going to be putting kind of my stamps back in here while I'm waiting, because I know I'm just a little bit ahead of you guys, and I can wait and see if anyone has any questions. Oh, good. I'm glad you guys like them. But again, it's another really cool suite that is, I think that's the problem with Stampin' Up. It's like, which suite isn't cool, right? But I really do like this one, and this is one that you could just, using this die set, and even like the embossing, it took a little bit longer, but can you imagine, you could get so many cards done so quickly by just cutting out a bunch of these dies and then just using the designer series paper. I mean, this one was so easy. Designer series paper, cut it out with the die, stamp your sentiment, do something on the inside, boom, you're done. Okay, and this one pretty much the same thing, except that I put that adhesive strip, but this is that beautiful rainbow. Same thing, just cut it out, stamp your sentiment, stamp something on the inside, boom, you're done. This one took a little bit longer because we had a lot of embossing, and this one too, we did emboss this one as well. But remember, you could have just done this with the white pigment ink. But I will tell you this, if you decide to do the white pigment ink and then cover it with the Wink Estella, you need to make sure that white pigment ink is completely dry before you do that. All right? So I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. Yay! Wasn't that fun? I'm getting rid of that. So I appreciate everybody being here tonight. I know I went a little over my hour, but I got 3 cards done. So anyway, I appreciate all you guys taking the time to be with me and to hang out with me on Tuesday nights. But be looking on this same site, Julie's Creative Stampin', because I am going to make a couple of just simple stamping with the same stamp set. I got so carried away with the dies that I forgot to show you how pretty just stamping the stamp set is. So I will do some of those and just post those periodically, and you guys can just check back in and see those videos. So anyway, I appreciate all you guys being here. One more time, if you guys still need to put orders in for July, that is the hostess code. But I'm pretty much closing that down tonight. So if you don't get an order in tonight, then let me know, because I have a hostess code that I can give you that is not already set up. So anyway, and order with me at juliebrown.stampinup.net. Please visit my Pinterest page and my blog. If you do go to my blog, please comment on the cards. I love to hear from you guys on what you like, what you don't like. It's okay if I do a card and you don't like it. You know, or you think it's too difficult, or you want to see something easy. Just kind of let me know what you're looking for. Because like I said, not everybody likes every single card that I do, but I try to do a big variety so that everybody has a chance. That's why I want to do some simple stamping with this set, because I want you guys to see you can buy just the stamp set and still have beautiful cards. So I will get those videos done and posted to this site as soon as possible. But other than that, I don't see any questions. So I appreciate you guys being here, and everybody have a great night. Talk to you soon.